in the mail MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail those shoot 'em ups, that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with my channel update for August 2023. Sitting on the gaps this time. Obviously got this area a little bit more cleaned up, and now I've made a mess over there, so which I'll show you in a minute. It's one of the not really a pickup, but one of the things I'm doing arcade wise. Okay, so August was my wife's birthday, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but she used to play Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo 64. She mainly plays been playing mobile games and everything like that, and she was getting a little bored with those and said she would like to be able to play Zelda. So I got her for her birthday a Legend of Zelda OLED Switch edition. Doesn't actually come with the game. We have copies of both of the Zelda games, and the funny thing is she hasn't actually started playing Zelda yet. I also got her Stardew Valley, and she's been playing that non-stop since she's got it. So there's the thing. I haven't actually brought the actual Switch out, but there's the dock. I actually thought that was quite well done. And the Switch itself, as you can see from the pictures, has the stylized controllers. But that was pretty good. I actually got a decent deal on it as well, and she's very, very happy and has been using it a lot. So I'm very pleased to be able to find that for her. I've been playing the Switch a little bit more too. Actually, of all things, I've actually been playing Skyrim on the Switch lately. And youngest daughter, who still lives with us, has been playing the newer Zelda game, and I'm playing the older Zelda game because I haven't finished that, so I'm not going to start the new one and do that. So a lot of Switch playing in the household, which is a new thing. Next we went, actually near my wife's birthday, we went to one of the rural towns here in around Hobart. And I went through the antique shops. One of them has lots of records and also a little box of Laserdiscs. And I found the missing, or the middle movie out of the Indiana Jones series. I've got the Temple of Doom and Last Crusade, but I was missing, sorry, this Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark I have, so I now have Temple of Doom, and it's a PAL Australian copy. Oh, sorry, US NTSC one, and it plays quite. Sorry, take it out of this baggie so you can see the cover a little better. There we go. So it's a pretty nice quality edition one. I haven't played it yet, and had a chance. Been very, very busy of late. If I ramble a little bit, for the last 2 days to my work, I have been recovering from, let's say, Microsoft had a meltdown at one of their hosting centres here in Australia. I work in data nowadays, and one of my data servers was in the cluster that died. They failed it over to another one which actually did not have enough processing capacity, so a whole chain of a data lake and data warehouse that we'd only just cut over to production, we had to rebuild the whole thing again, which took basically 48 hours of effort and reloads and problems and issues, and it's amazing that I'm coherent making this video today. Also, I finally got some new shelves for my Laserdisc. I've just taken a little short bit of video which I'll put up here. So it's just 4 set of cubes that stands up, and I've roughly laid out my Laserdisc collection into sections. Up the top is the first level are the older sci-fi movies, along with a couple of music ones. Next level down is all sci-fi, and third row are the other movies that are not sci-fi. And I'll put Indiana Jones, because it's, you know, fantasy sort of things, in that level as an example, and Back to the Future could go either way, so Back to the Future's in that shelf. So that actual third shelf's quite full. And the bottom shelf basically has my nice Star Trek box set and all my other Star Trek laserdiscs. I've got a few original episode Star Treks and a few Next Generation ones and a few specials. And the first, we've got the 2 Time Tunnel boxes down there, and then to the right we have, which don't actually fit in, are the boxes of Lost in Space. I've finished the Time Tunnels. Now that was actually very enjoyable, and I thoroughly don't regret getting those. And I've started watching Lost in Space properly now. I'm only up to episode 4, but I'm in obviously those very early episodes of Lost in Space. The actors are finding their way with their characters, but you can see it settling into a very good show. So as I said, I really haven't properly watched the early episodes of Lost in Space for a very long time, and even back when I was a kid, when I saw some of them, I wouldn't have seen all of the episodes. So I'm actually looking forward to working my way through there. Same as Time Tunnel, there were quite a few episodes in there that I hadn't seen before, and I really enjoyed that series. I can definitely remember watching that one as a kid. Now, I'll do one more pickup before we stand up and do it, because the other pickup I need to show you some things, and then we'll look at the arcade stuff. So it's another book from Bitmap Books, but I was able to buy from Pixel Crib here in Australia, which saved a lot of money on postage. They packaged it really well, and it's The Art of the Box. It's all about the box art designers, and it weighs a lot. So I'm just going to open a random page. So there we go, we got a Wonder Boy one. I haven't read very far in it yet, but they go through a particular artist and then show each section's got a particular artist, and then they work through some of the box art pieces and tell you a little about it. There we go, there's a section there. Probably not going to be able to see that very good. It's a very heavy book, really good quality. I highly recommend it if you're interested in and appreciate the art on the box art of the games that we all love to collect. So thoroughly enjoyed that, but as you can see my bookmark, I'm not very far through it yet, so I haven't had it very long. Alright, so we're going to pick up the camera and switch around. I hope it's not too jerky cam for you, but I'll show you what I've been up to with the arcades. Just a couple of repairs, and we'll switch to that now. Now the first, so it looks like I've got a new arcade cabinet, but it's not mine, I promise you. This is actually the science teacher who taught all 4 of my girls at high school. I believe he was the science teacher or one of the teachers that took some of those classes, and this is his Arkanoid. So it's a made in Australia thing. It used to be a Galaxian Mark II originally, and then it was converted probably a long time ago into an Arkanoid. The game actually plays, you can hear it playing, sound works. I don't know whether the controller works properly, but the monitor has vertical collapse. Now unfortunately it's a really old tube and has a really old chassis, so it's only got horizontal collapse. It does actually look like some of the capacitors in that section, so it's either going to be the chip here. There are these capacitors here that haven't been replaced, I believe. I'm just going by colour and these looking a little newer, but they do look a little bit like this one here. Looks very roughed up on the top and everything like that. So all I can really do with this chassis is just replace a couple of the caps in that section and try it again. It is a 12 pin, which you really can't get any more chassis for. I have another 12 pin, but that chassis is gone as well, and you can't really use anything else. But this is the whole reason why I picked up all of those tubes. I have tubes that are 9 and I think they're 9 pin ones, which are much easier to get chassis for, and a whole lot of spare parts. So I'll try and get the chassis working here so I don't have to swap the tube out, but if not, I'll have to do a tube swap and chassis and getting something running. I mean, look, worst case, this one here is mostly working in a pair correspondence, so I can put that one in there and it's the right size. And he also has this what used to be originally a Quicks. Sorry, my focus. I really need a new camera. So it used to be a Quicks. It's got 3 buttons and everything like that. He had bump and jump in it, and once again the screen, it has collapse as well. Now this is obviously 20-inch. I think the tube should be fine. I'm just going to have to recap the chassis and see how it go. I have lots of spare parts. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to try and do the Arcanine first and get that going, and I'll report back with my progress. Now the other arcade repair, so obviously the arcade's looking pretty good. We even have a, model cat. I've got Black Tiger in there because that's the Tuber's high score challenge at the moment. I'm not very good at it, but it's a fun game. Now, most importantly, I fixed Tutankhamun, because I was very disappointed. I had this chassis recapped by somebody else and constantly losing the blue. And what it is the tube, it's a good tube and everything like that, but the pins are a little wonky, and the actual neck is not gripping onto the pins. So you put it in and you just move the cabinet ever so slightly and it lets go slightly, and it was obviously the blue pin that was having trouble. So all I've done is, of using a bit of hot glue, which is completely reversible, I have actually hot glued the neck to the hot glued the piece of the neck, and now we have constant blue. And actually, because of my mucking around, the contrast is a little high and just needs to go down, but it's actually got lovely colours. So nothing wrong with that tube. I just need obviously to be careful of the pins, and chassis is all good. So they're my arcade repairs. Right, so the other little pickup this month is a new soldering station and a tidy up of this area. I basically moved the pet to over there. Obviously a lot more cleaning up here, and I got myself a few accessories here for smaller solder jobs in here, but it has a desolder gun. I haven't actually used it yet, soldering iron. I've soldered a couple of cables. I got myself one of these handy PCB holders, good tip cleaner, and also trying out one of these new solder suckers as well, and the good old rubber mat so things don't slip. I need to clean up this section. I'm going to put some storage shelves up here for parts and everything to get everything off the desk. So yeah, coming along nicely. Obviously I haven't put it to much use. Obviously about to start work on that chassis. I do have another electronics work area, but I do which has a lot more room and a lot more space, but it's in another shed that's got no heating, so during the winter I just can't use it. So this is for my smaller jobs that I'm going to do in here. Right, back sitting down. Sorry, Black Tiger's to sound to the board keeps on coming on and off. Anyway, back sitting down. So final bit of my update video for this month, bit of a homebrew update. Main thing I've been focusing on is my book, Programming Games for the NES. I have finished chapters 13 and 14 completely, sent them off to be proofread, and we are up to the electronic pre-sales. So we're just in the process of putting together the support material for that, and the first 5 chapters will go for sale for the online web version, where you can pre-order the book and you get the chapters as they're finalised and released. The first 5 chapters, I think we've got a deadline of the 6th of September to get all those materials together. I assume it will take a week or so just to put it together and publish it. So at some stage of September, and I'll do a specific video with that and post on the forums, where you can go and pre-order the book and start reading it. And a good advantage of being part of the, they call it MEEP, is you can contribute to the book and, proofread, make suggestions if you don't think parts of it right, and I can continue modifying the book as we work towards the print production. So I said I've written up to chapter 14 now. There are 17 chapters, plus 2 appendices. I've written one of the appendixes. So we're almost there, Chapter 14 was quite interesting. That was sound effects. That was good fun. Now also Sydney Hunter and the Caverns of Death. Sound effects working really well. I really only have to get, there's a couple of bugs were found in the rope climbing sections, and I need to go through the whole game and just make sure the lava rises during the game. There's a couple of little adjustments need to be made there. In the vertical climb sections, we're going to make the lava double speed just to give it a bit of a challenge. It's just make sure I haven't missed anything. So obviously this is a conversion from the Super Nintendo game, so I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything and we're ready to go. And final thing, EA Classics, I think I mentioned this last month. I've been working on that and getting that finished off for the Spectravideo and MSX, and mainly working on sound effects and just a little spit and polish and everything like that, but that's going along nicely. I'm using the sound engine from one of the Arcos Tracker, that's it. Comes with a set of code that's very focused on the Spectrum and Amstrad. To get it working, I had to switch over to a different assembler, which I don't like, so I've actually been tidying that up so it'll work on the assembler that I use now, and I think that'll be much better. But I'm getting a lot used to using the Arcos Tracker. It's not too bad, and being able to make quite nice sound effects. I haven't written any music yet, but I'll get to that next. But I'm actually spending a bit of time tidying that engine up, and then I'll be able to put that in all the games and have the sound effects and music all in a consistent format. And they're pretty good. They don't seem to take up too much room in the ROM, so none of these are going to fill up even a 32K ROM. All titles. So we've got EA Classics, Cavern Fighter, Pixidus EX, and the other title is EA 70s Arcade Classics, which has got Lunar Rescue, Debt Charge and Stunt Cycle. So a whole heap of titles at the almost finished stage, and that's really what I'm going to focus on. All these games is getting all the ones that are 95% of the way there to their 100% released, and I'll add all of the original Spectravideo ones to my store at once, so those people overseas, you can probably buy 3 titles and still pay the same amount of postage, because the postage is going to be the killer. I have all the materials, I've got printed cases. I even was mucking around the other day printing cases for Sega SG-1000, SC-3000 computers, and I'm making a ColecoVision of most of these games anyway, so I could probably release it for the Sega SG-1000, SC-3000 systems as well. I'm not sure of the interest of how many people would be after those. I'll have to see if I can get some PCBs made. I'm sure they're not too complicated. Alright, that's my channel update. As I said, yes, hopefully my work is a little quieter next month, and so I can continue working on my other things, and I really want to get back into and fixing more arcades. We are getting there. The arcade room is getting very, very nice. Obviously you have some more monitors to swap and things like that, but getting things set up how I like them and in a nice configuration, so I can turn on all these machines and play a game of each and see if I can beat my high score. So very nice selection of games, and obviously I'll play Arkanoid a bit when I get it working before he comes and takes it back. But yes, that new Arkanoid and the Quicks cabinet, they are not staying, they'll be going back, because as I said, he only lives around the corner, but still it's a pain moving machines. Alright, hope you guys are enjoying your retro and of course modern games. I'm Electric Adventures, thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.